If you think you already know what women want from a man, stop right here, because what she actually desires has almost nothing to do with what you have been told. A 62-year-old man walks into a room full of people. He is not the tallest, he is not the wealthiest, he is not the youngest by 2 decades. But within 20 minutes, something strange happens. A woman across the room keeps looking at him, not because of what he said, not because of what he wore, because of something invisible, something she felt, something she could not explain to her best friend if she tried. And this is the part that matters. She will never tell him what drew her in, not because she is hiding it, but because most women do not have the language for what they feel in those moments. They just feel it, and either a man triggers it or he does not. You were never taught any of this. The world handed you a script about flowers and compliments and opening doors, and none of it was wrong, but all of it was incomplete. Today you are going to hear 7 things that women deeply desire from a man, but will almost never say out loud. Not because they are inappropriate, because they are so emotionally raw, so psychologically vulnerable, that saying them would make her feel exposed. And no woman will expose herself to a man she does not trust. But stay with me through every single one of these, especially number 5, because that one alone has made men rethink every interaction they have ever had. If this is the kind of understanding that matters to you, hit like right now. You are helping build a community of men who actually want to understand, not perform. This is where we go beneath the surface of attraction and into the real psychology of what women feel but never say. Before we go into these 7 truths, you need to understand something foundational. Evolutionary psychologists like Dr. David Buss at the University of Texas have spent decades mapping what drives human attraction beneath conscious awareness. His research, spanning over 10,000 participants across 37 cultures, consistently showed that the deepest drivers of female attraction are not visible. They are felt. They live in the nervous system. They operate below language. A woman does not sit down and make a list of why she feels drawn to someone. Her body decides before her mind catches up. This is not a game. This is not a hack or a shortcut. This is the science of how human beings connect at the deepest level. And when you understand it, you stop trying to impress and start learning how to resonate. That is the shift, from performance to presence, and it changes everything. The first thing she secretly wants but will never ask for is what I call controlled stillness. Most men move too much. They fidget, they shift their weight, they check their phone, they look around the room. And every time they do, her subconscious registers one thing. He is not settled. He is not safe. Research in nonverbal communication at Princeton University found that people form judgments about trustworthiness in less than 1/10 of a second. That is faster than a single heartbeat. And the primary signal her brain reads is not your words, it is your stillness. When a man is physically calm, when his body is grounded and unhurried, her nervous system interprets it as stability, as emotional safety, as strength that does not need to announce itself. Imagine this. You are at a social gathering. People are talking over each other. The energy is scattered. And there you are, standing with your feet firmly planted, your breathing slow, your eyes steady. She notices. Not because you demanded attention, because in a room full of noise, your calm became the loudest thing in it. This communicates something she will never say out loud. He does not need the room, but the room needs him. That is controlled stillness, and it is the first thing she desires without ever being able to name it. The second thing is what psychologists refer to as selective attention. She does not want you to notice everything. She wants you to notice her, specifically, precisely, in a way that tells her you are paying attention to the details that everyone else misses. Dr. John Gottman's research at the University of Washington found that the strongest predictor of lasting connection is not grand romantic gestures. It is what he called turning toward. The small moments where one person notices the other and responds. Not with a speech, with a glance, a word, a slight adjustment. Most men try to impress women with big moves, but what she secretly wants is the man who notices that she went quiet. The man who sees her tuck her hair behind her ear and understands that it means she is feeling something. The man who remembers the name of her sister and asks about her without being prompted. Imagine this. You are both at a dinner party. She mentions something small, almost in passing, a childhood memory about the smell of rain on a summer afternoon. 2 hours later, as you are walking to the car, you say, "That thing you said about rain, that was beautiful. I'm still thinking about it." She will stop walking. She will look at you. And in that moment, she will feel something that no compliment about her appearance could ever create. She will feel seen. This is about understanding and respect, not control or manipulation. Selective attention is not surveillance. It is care expressed through presence. The third thing she secretly craves is what I call the gentle confrontation. This one surprises most men. She does not want you to agree with everything she says. She does not want a man who nods along and tells her she is right when she knows she is not. What she wants, deep down, is a man who cares enough to be honest. Not harsh, not critical, not condescending. Honest, with warmth. Psychologists call this secure challenge. Dr. Sue Johnson, the creator of emotionally focused therapy, found that the most securely attached couples are not the ones who avoid conflict. They are the ones who can hold tension without breaking trust. When a woman says something she does not fully believe, and you gently say, "I hear you, but I see it differently, and here is why," something shifts in her chest. Not anger, not defensiveness, relief. Because she just found a man who is not performing agreement to keep the peace. He is being real. And real is what she has been looking for. Most men over 50 have spent years learning to avoid disagreement, especially with women. But she does not want avoidance. She wants a man who is steady enough to stand in his truth without making her feel small for standing in hers. That is emotional leadership. That is what she respects, but will never request. The fourth thing is something rarely discussed. I call it the protective pause. And this is not about physical protection. This is about emotional shielding. She wants to know that when the world is too much, you become the wall between her and the noise. Not by fixing her problems, not by offering solutions, by simply being the calm she can lean into. Research in attachment theory, pioneered by Dr. John Bowlby and later expanded by Dr. Mary Ainsworth, shows that the deepest human need is not love in the romantic sense, it is felt safety. The nervous system of every human being is constantly scanning the environment for one answer: am I safe here? And when a woman is with a man who provides that answer through his presence, not his words, something ancient inside her relaxes, something she has been holding for years. Imagine this. She has had a terrible day. She walks through the door and you can see it in her face. Most men immediately ask, "What happened? What is wrong? Do you want to talk about it?" But the man who understands the protective pause does something different. He looks at her softly. He opens his arms without a word, and he lets her come to him on her own time. No questions, no pressure, just space held in warmth. A woman at a reunion dinner once shared something with me that stayed in my mind for years. She was in her late 40s, elegant and composed. She said, "I left a man who gave me everything I asked for, and I stayed with a man who gave me the one thing I never knew how to ask for. He made me feel like I could fall apart and still be held." That is the protective pause. It is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of strength a man can show. And this is where things go to another level entirely. What I am about to share next is something most men in this space will never hear, and it is the reason I told you to stay through the whole video. The fifth thing she secretly desires is the intentional silence. This is different from the pause after a question. This is a deliberate choice to say nothing in a moment when most men would speak. Dr. Daniel Siegel, a clinical professor at UCLA, explains that when the brain experiences silence in the presence of someone safe, it shifts from a state of evaluation to a state of connection. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for judgment and defense, quiets down. And the limbic system, the emotional center, opens. Most men are terrified of silence. They think it means something is wrong. They rush to fill it. They crack a joke. They change the subject. But she does not experience silence the way you do. For her, silence with the right man feels like intimacy. It feels like being known without being questioned. It feels like trust without conditions. Imagine this. You are both sitting on a balcony in the evening. The sky is changing colour. She is beside you. Neither of you has spoken in 3 minutes, and instead of feeling uncomfortable, she moves closer. She rests her head against your shoulder, not because you said something brilliant, because you said nothing at all, and that nothing told her everything. This communicates something words cannot reach. I do not need to fill every moment. I am comfortable with who you are in the quiet. If your intention is not honest, none of this will work. Women sense everything. But when the silence comes from a genuine place, it becomes the most powerful language a man can speak. The 6th thing she wants is what I call emotional narration. This is the ability to name what is happening between you in real time. Not in a clinical way, in a human way. Most men experience moments of connection and say nothing about them. They feel it, but they do not name it. And because they do not name it, the moment passes. She felt it too, but without acknowledgement, it dissolves like it never happened. Psychologists call this affect labeling. Research at UCLA showed that when people name an emotional experience as it is happening, the experience becomes deeper and more memorable. The brain encodes it differently. It moves from short-term sensation to long-term meaning. So when you are sitting with her and something shifts between you, when the air changes and you both feel something unspoken, and you say quietly, "This feels really good, just being here with you," you are not being sentimental. You are doing something scientifically profound. You are making the invisible visible. You are giving her permission to feel what she is already feeling. Imagine this. You are walking together through a quiet street at night. She laughs at something you said and then goes quiet. There is a warmth between you that neither of you planned. And you say, "I do not know how to explain this, but right now, walking here, I feel more like myself than I have in a long time." She will remember that sentence for years. Not because it was poetic, because it was true. And truth, spoken with calm vulnerability, is the most attractive thing a man can offer. The 7th and final thing she secretly wants is the unfinished thread. She does not want you to wrap everything up neatly. She does not want closure after every conversation. What she wants, and what creates the deepest psychological pull, is the feeling that there is always more, that you are someone she has not finished discovering. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect, named after Dr. Bloomer Zeigarnik, who found that the human brain remembers incomplete experiences far more vividly than completed ones. When you end a conversation not with a neat conclusion, but with a thought left open, you stay in her mind. Not through manipulation, through genuine depth. You say, "There is something else I have been thinking about what you said earlier, but I want to sit with it before I share it," and then you leave. She will think about you, not because you played a game, because you showed her that your inner world has rooms she has not visited yet, and that is what real attraction is. Not the feeling that she has you figured out, the feeling that she never fully will. Now step back and think about what you have just heard. Controlled stillness, selective attention, the gentle confrontation, the protective pause, the intentional silence, emotional narration, the unfinished thread. None of these are tricks. None of them require you to be someone you are not. They require you to be more of who you already are. More present, more aware, more honest, more still. This is not about performing a version of masculinity that impresses. This is about embodying a kind of depth that resonates, the kind that does not fade, the kind she feels in her chest long after you have left the room. Most men will never learn these things, not because they cannot, because they never slow down long enough to listen. But you did. You are here. You stayed through all 7, and that tells me something about the kind of man you are becoming. If this meant something to you, subscribe now and turn on notifications. You are part of a community of men who want more than surface connections. And comment the word aware below. Just that single word. It lets me know you are someone who gets it, someone who is willing to go deeper. In the next video, we are going to explore the 3 moments in a conversation when a woman silently decides whether she can trust you with her heart. Most men miss all 3. You will not. That one is coming soon.